If you think your holidays with family are going to be awkward, be happy you're not part of the Gosar family. Congressman Paul Gosar has served Arizona since 2011, and his siblings have a message for voters this November. Don't cast a ballot for our brother. Watch this.
Paul Gosar, the congressman, isn't doing anything to help rural America.
Paul's absolutely not working for his district.
And he's not listening to you, and he doesn't have your interests at heart. My name is Tim Gosar.
David Gosar.
Grace Gosar.
Joan Gosar.
Gaston Gosar.
Jennifer Gosar.
Paul Gosar is my brother.
My brother. And I endorse Dr. Brill.
Dr. Brill wholeheartedly endorse Dr. David Brill for Congress.
Well, Paul Gosar's sister Jennifer is here with us now. Jennifer, how did this come about, and why did you decide to participate?
Well, thanks for having me on your program, Anna. It is, helpful to be able to speak to a wider audience, and I appreciate the opportunity. And to answer your question, how did it come about? Paul's political rhetoric in the last probably year and a half has gone from, to me, conservative, into a place of hate and divisiveness. So my siblings and I, a number of us, wrote a letter in response to his comments on Vice News, alleging that George Soros and the Charlottesville Nazi or neo-Nazi demonstrations were somehow connected to the left. And he accused Mr. Soros of collaborating with the Nazis, which is false. That is cruel, and we didn't feel that that was at all in the realm of fair or appropriate. So we all, those of us that felt inclined, signed a letter. It was then published in some Arizona newspapers. It got a little bit of national attention. And since then, Paul's rhetoric has continued to be further divisive, to use false information, and to be hateful.
Have you ever confronted him about it?
In different occasions, we've had conversations. I would, admit heated, but they were years ago. And in more recent, years, Paul has been, for me, very consumed by his political career and his work. I can imagine, it is a very consuming job. There's a lot to consider, a lot to do, a lot of people and obligations that one would have.
Right.
So I haven't talked to him in the recent past about it.
I understand you haven't heard from your brother since this new ad aired, but CNN reached out, and here is part of the statement he gave us. Let me read it to you. Those of my siblings who chose to film ads against me are all liberal Democrats who hate President Trump. These disgruntled Hillary supporters are related by blood to me, but like leftists everywhere, they put political ideology before family. Lenin, Mao, and Kim Jong-un would be proud. Not one of my siblings lives in Arizona, and my opponent's policies are out of sync with what Arizona wants and the country needs. You can't pick your family. We all have crazy aunts and relatives, etc., and my family is no different. I hope they find peace in their hearts and let go all the hate. To the 6 angry Democrat Gosars, see you at Mom and Dad's house. Jennifer, what's your response to that?
It's a small statement from regrettably, voiced in public. I honestly, what we've talked about doesn't relate to party. There was no reference to Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal. What I think my siblings and I really want to speak to is a level of integrity and decency. The dialogue of screaming and yelling insults from across the airwaves does not help the people that need help. And if I do anything with this appearance, if I do anything with these ads, I hope that we can focus our attention on people that need it. Community members are struggling. People are hurting. There are people at the border that are refugees. The environment is in a really difficult place. I was reading about North Carolina this morning and how many marginalized people of color are living next to toxic waste sites. That's not something that occurs only in North Carolina.
So you feel very strongly, obviously, about some of the positions that your brother holds and believe in this other candidate. But let me ask you this question, Jennifer, because your brother has claimed that white nationalists and that rally in Charlottesville was some kind of plot by leftists. He called for dreamers to be arrested at the State of the Union speech. He once referred to Native Americans as wards of the federal government. Where did these ideas come from?
I don't know. I don't know. I wish there was some way to reach Paul. This was the only way I could think of to do it. But the people that you've just mentioned, there are many people in those groups that I know and that have been very kind to me. They have supported me when I needed help. And I couldn't disagree more strongly with that kind of language. I find it to be uninformed and generalizing.
You have a big family, I understand. You are one of 10 children. 6 siblings are featured in that ad we showed at the beginning. Does it mean you have siblings who support your brother's campaign?
You know, I wouldn't speak for my siblings that didn't choose to be a part of these ads. You know, they have their reasons and I respect them. I don't want to put them in a place that they didn't ask to be. If they would want to speak out for themselves, I honor that, and if they support Paul, that is their right to do so. But I'd rather not comment about them because I want to respect their decisions.
What do your parents think?
I don't know. I've been honestly kind of, this is quite surreal. I've been, had a huge response on Twitter, mostly very supportive. I have been contacted by different newspapers, and I'm trying very hard to think clearly, because what I want to present to you and to my community members in this American Republic and in Arizona is something that gives honor to the people that are struggling, to their stories, and to the best part of us that we can dialogue with, because that's where I really hope we go with this.
Real fast, are you a Democrat yourself? And he also, your brother, points out that you don't live in Arizona.
Well, Paul doesn't really live in Prescott. So, you know, that's, if we're going to talk details, he needs to be careful. His primary residence is in Flagstaff, and I would suggest to you that an apartment in Prescott does not mean residence. So in that, you know, in that way, the very false things that people claim are the very things that they're guilty of. And that's why I think we need to dialogue about what's real, what helps people, what makes our communities better, what takes care of our environment. And if good ideas come from Democrats, if they come from Republicans, they come from liberals, progressives, conservatives, Green Party, I don't care. I'm interested in what moves us forward together.
Jennifer Gosar, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and I really appreciate the chance to speak with you.
As we await details on Christine Blasey Ford's possible appearance in front of Congress